Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft Legion Alpha video. Today I'm going to be giving you a look at the new Beast Mastery Hunter and how it plays. I'm going to do that in a few different very simple steps. First of all, we'll go over the basic abilities and rotation, then we'll go through all the abilities, then we'll go through the talents, and finally we will have a look at Titan Strike, which is their artifact weapon. One thing you'll notice though, I've got two pets. Yeah, that's actually a part of Titan Strike, so you'll see there, equip. Haiti will now follow you as a companion. This is, I believe, Thorim even, his wolf who ends up joining you. So you actually start off with two pets. Already that is more beastie than normal. So, you've probably noticed actually, if you look down at the action bars here, stuff's a little bit more small and simple. Now you can add to that with talents, do not worry. At a very basic level, there are 3 main DPS buttons, and then 4 because of Bestial Wrath. So, of course, like normal, I've got focus. I'll just enter combat here so the little focus bar appears. It's kind of convenient to look at. So there's my two pets going in, doing their attacking. Cobra Shot, 30 focus, 40 yard range. Quick Shot does 8,000 physical damage, costs focus, and it's instant. A little bit different to last time. We then have Kill Command, 20 focus, 6 second cooldown, gives the command to kill, causing your pet to instantly inflict 6,000 roughly damage to its target, and it's got a 25 yard range. Then Dire Beast, 10 second cooldown, significantly more uptime in this than you would have had in the past expansions. Summons a powerful wild beast to attack your target for 8 seconds. Each time the beast does damage, you gain 4 focus. Summoning a beast in will reduce the remaining cooldown of Bestial Wrath by 15 seconds. We then need to have a quick look at some passives. Wild Call. Critical strikes have a 20% chance to reset the cooldown of Dire Beast, and then your mastery just causes you to, or your pets, deal increased damage. Currently it's 78% for me. So how does the gameplay of this work? Pretty darn simple. First of all, you Bestial Wrath, Kill Command, and then you do a Dire Beast, because the Dire Beast will reset the cooldown. Now, I'm kind of lying to you here. You're noticing the Kill Command is being reset quite a bit, more faster than 6 seconds anyway. That's due to a talent. I'll explain that in a second. Yeah, it's due to Killer Cobra. Whenever Bestial Wrath is active, Cobra Shot has a 25% chance to reset the cooldown on Kill Command. But basically, the way that this works at a very basic, I said basic twice, 3 times. The way that this works is that you want to do a Bestial Wrath such that during that Bestial Wrath's duration, which is 15 seconds, you squeeze in as many kill commands as possible, while making sure that you do Dire Beast on cooldown, because Dire Beast will reduce the cooldown of Bestial Wrath by an entire 15 seconds, and then you just burn any extra focus on your Cobra Shot, and a lot of your focus generation is actually coming from, your pets, your Dire Beast, which is summoned in and then gives you focus every time that it attacks, and then of course, your baseline focus regeneration. Rather annoyingly, Haiti is not backing down from combat after I have put my pet on passive. That really should be a bit of functionality. We then have another cooldown. Aspect of the Wild increases crit chance of all skills for you and your pet by 10%, and you gain 10 focus per second for 10 seconds. That's really good. More crit means you're going to be getting more free Dire Beasts via Wild Call, and then having more focus means you'll be dumping more stuff into your Cobra Shots. You might want to use that, ideally in combination with Bestial Wrath, because then both you and your pet do additional damage due to Bestial Fury. It's another 20%, though without Bestial Fury. I'm just going to run away so that extra pet stops fighting. But without Bestial Fury, Bestial Wrath will only increase by 20%. Great, so we're out of combat now, so if I was to switch over to Blink Strikes, you can see Bestial Wrath is just 20% there. Now, there are other abilities. There's Multi-Shot, which you can bring in. Now, Multi-Shot, of course, has its interplay with Beast Cleave. After you Multi-Shot, your pet's melee attacks will also strike nearby enemies for 100% as much for the next 4 seconds. That's pretty much it's roughly as it is now anyway. If you're in an AoE situation, keep your uptime in Beast Cleave going. Chimera Shot's also here, but we're not going to be talking about it right now because it's a talent. So, at a base level, this is a literal 3-button spec with a cooldown. Now, one thing that I have noticed is that you're actually quite weak outside of Bestial Wrath. Because you are using all of these Dire Beasts, you're actually Bestial Wrathing really often. But outside of the Bestial Wrath, because you don't have the extra damage applied, you're not really doing as much damage, which is a little bit weird. Let's just run through all of the things. So, Aspect of the Cheetah, this is now a cooldown that increases your run speed by 90% for 3 seconds, and then 30% for another 9 after that. Aspect of the Turtle, you deflect all attacks and take 30% less damage for 8 seconds, but of course you can't attack. Cobra Shot, we've already covered. We've already covered Aspect of the Wild. Same for Bestial Wrath. Concussive Shot is the same thing. Counter Shot is the same thing. Eagle Spirit takes you back to your Class Order Hall. I've already covered Dire Beast. Disengage is still Disengage. Misdirection will throw your threat onto whatever you use Misdirection on. Eagle Eye's the same. Multi-shots, well, we've already covered it. It's pretty much the same. Exhilaration gives you an instant 30% of your health back. 2-minute cooldown. Pet Utilities, just all your little pet things. Feign Death is the same. Volley's a talent, so cover that in a bit. We've got Flare, which is pretty much the same. And then Kill Command, which is the same. And that's it. This is a super, super simple spec. Though, I think it's super simple. It feels similar enough, though, once you build it out with talents. So let's look at the talents. One with the pack. The chance for Wild Call to reset the cooldown of Dire Beast is increased by 10%. Wild Call currently is a 20% chance. This will put up to a 30% chance, but you do have 2 layers of RNG. There is the chance of getting a crit, and then there is the chance of that crit resetting the cooldown. So, yeah, quite a bit of RNG layers there. Way of the Cobra. For every pet or guardian you have active, Cobra Shot deals an additional 5% damage. So, 5%, 10%, and then your Dire Beasts, which will be even more. And then we've got Dire Stable. Dire Beasts generate an additional 4 extra focus when they attack. That's on top of the 4 that they already generate. We then move on to the 30 tier, so Post Haste, which gives you a run speed increase after you do Disengage. We then have Far Strider when any of your attacks... crit, there is a chance the cooldown of Disengage will be reduced by 10%. And then we have Dash. The duration of Aspect of the Cheat is increased by 3 seconds. I normally would go for Post Haste in this scenario. We then have Stomp. Whenever your Dire Beasts charge in, they stomp the ground, dealing 400% physical damage to all nearby enemies. This is probably more of an AoE talent, but you can see it charges in and does a stomp, which completely makes sense because that's an owl. I don't really see owls stomp the ground much. We've got Exotic Munitions, which continues to be as it was in Warlords of Draenor, and is literally one of the most boring things that hunters can possibly have. We then have Chimera Shot. I need to run away from the target so that Haiti stops attacking. Chimera Shot. So, a 2-headed shot that hits your primary target and another nearby target, dealing nature or frost damage to each target, generating 10 focus for every target hit. The number isn't actually up for this, but I'll do a quick little damage comparison. I'll move this into my bars now. This is a 9-second cooldown, and if we were to look at the damage of a Chimera, or a Cobra even, 179,000, and then that does 1,000,000. Of course, this is against level 80 targets, so the damage is scaled, and you can have those, extra crit things that you get when you're, 4+ levels above a target, but still, this is something you want to use on cooldown, and this is actually baking an element of marksmanship hunter gameplay into the BM Hunter. I think it's a lot more fun to play when Chimera Shot is one of your chosen talents. We then move on to this tier, so Binding Shot, which is the same, Werven Sting, which is the same as it is in Live, and Intimidation, which is additionally the same as it is in Live, maybe slightly different cooldowns, but that stuff's all got to be balanced anyway. We move on to Big Game Hunter, increases the crit chance of your auto attacks and Cobra Shots by 50% on targets who are above 80% health. So, if you have Big Game Hunter, damn, Haiti's still attacking, that's really annoying. If you have Big Game Hunter and one with the pack, then you're going to be generating a good few more Dire Beasts. Of course, though, this doesn't have much effect when you are below 80% health. And one of the reasons why this, or the equivalent of this, was really good in, say, Marksmanship Hunter is because it would also apply whenever you use Rapid Fire. But this is purely something that's available when your targets are above 80%. We then have Bestial Fury. This increases the damage bonus of Bestial Wrath by 20%. Going for this basically means there's more an emphasis on having very tight gameplay with your Bestial Wraths and your Dire Beasts, which I think, is good. We then have Blink Strikes even. So your pet's basic attacks do 50% more increased damage and can be used from 30 yards away, and they will instantly teleport your pet from where they are to behind your target. Quite handy, I suppose, but whether this will be worth it, it's all just going to be a matter of mathsing it out. I remember a point, I think it was in 5.3 even, when Blink Strikes was either the same amount of DPS or almost the same amount of DPS, but since you couldn't use it wrong, it was the default pick a lot of the time. But that was a very short-lived period. Anyway, this just all comes down to maths. We move on to the 90 tier, Murder of Crows. This does give you another ability to use. 30 focus, 1 minute cooldown. If the target dies when Murder of Crows is up, then its cooldown is reset, and it's basically just a dot. So I'll put that onto my bars. We then have Barrage, which is pretty much the same thing, and Volley, which is not as Volley used to be, so using Volley causes... I'll just do it on a critter so that we don't... Yeah, so it causes them to sort of drop down from the sky. That's basically it. They will drop down for 6 seconds every 1 second, but it's not a channeled ability. I really wish that was a channeled thing, just like it was back in Wrath. That could just be nostalgia talking to me. Now, Volley... You know, in a single target situation, you're probably going to be using Murder of Crows, right? So, overall, I'm just going to feign death here to get out of combat. But overall, if you're going for a single target build, you're probably going to have Murder of Crows and Chimera Shot, which is going to mean that it is a good bit more than just those 3 buttons. So the next thing that we have is Stampede, but when I explain that, I actually sneeze, so we'll have to wait until that comes back off cooldown. Until then, let's talk about Killer Cobra. Whenever Bestial Wrath is active, Cobra Shot has a 25% chance to reset the cooldown of Kill Command. You saw me use that earlier, and basically that just means you've got more stuff going on during your Bestial Wrath phases, and during Bestial Wrath you probably want to be going in with as much focus as you can so that you can really be using those Cobra Shots so that you can fish for additional kill commands. And then there's Aspect of the Beast. Kill command causes an additional effect based on your pet's specialization. For Ferocity, your pet also bleeds the target for an additional 3,700 damage over 6 seconds. For Tenacity, it will take 15% reduced damage for 6 seconds, and for Cunning it will snare the target for 70%, by 70% for 4 seconds. Now Stampede is a little bit different. In the past it would summon in a bunch of pets to attack your enemy. Now what it does is it summons in kind of waves of creatures which stampede through the target and then disappear. So it's far more of a traditional DPS cooldown. I think parts of it are more thematic and I like the idea it's a big stampede of animals, but it is a lot less cool than having just a whole bunch of, you know, like having loads and loads of different animals around the place. It's a little bit of a pity. Anyway, it's still on cooldown, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So, Titan's Thunder. This is the effect of your artifact weapon. 1 minute cooldown. Discharge a massive jolt of electricity from the Titan Strike into all of your pets and dire beasts, causing them to deal nature damage to the target every 1 second for 8 seconds. Note that it affects your dire beasts. If we look at dire beasts, a 10-second cooldown, so it will slot in with this if you're doing things right. The dire beasts last for 8 seconds. This thing's effect lasts for 8 seconds as well, so you want to be using this directly after you use Dire Beast, or else you won't be getting 100%, like, you know, perfect usage of it. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're playing the spec. They do have a few decently interesting minor traits, so I'm just going to run through them. Jaws of Thunder at rank 3, Kill Command has a 15% chance to be empowered by the Titan Spark, dealing an additional 50% of its damage as nature damage. That's kind of cool. We've got Hunter's Advantage. This is big for the solo people. Whenever you use Misdirection on your pet takes less damage, 35% less damage for 8 seconds. Spitting Cobras, Cobra Shot does 9% more damage. Wilderness Expert, Aspect of the Wild, lasts an additional 3 seconds. Mimiron's Shell, whenever you do Aspect of the Turtle, you will heal for 30% of your maximum health over its duration. Natural Reflexes increase the chance for you and your pets to dodge by 6%. Pack Leader increases the damage of Kill Command by 15%. Furious Swipes, Beast Cleave does an additional 30% damage. Spirit Bond, you heal for 15% of the damage of your pet's Kill Command. That's very good survivability. Unleash the Beast, increase the damage bonus from Bestial Wrath by 6%, so that's, 20% plus 6%, and then from your talent plus another 20%, so that gives you quite a nice Bestial Wrath if you so choose. Focus of the Titans, multi-shot cost is reduced by 15, so that's from 40 down to 25, and then we've got Renewed Vigor. Each time you summon a Dire Beast, the cooldown of Exhilaration is reduced by 3 seconds, so you'll be able to use Exhilaration quite a bit sooner. We move on to the more important one, so Storm Shot. Whenever you activate Aspect of the Wild, Titan Strike forms a ball of lightning in front of you that builds up over 10 seconds. Whenever Aspect of the Wild ends, your next Cobra Shot will send that ball of lightning to the target, dealing a bunch of damage. So that's quite cool. We've got Surge of the Storm God. Whenever you use Multi-Strike, Titan Strike will or has a chance to discharge an electric current into your pets, causing an explosion of electricity that damages all enemies within 5 yards for a bunch of damage. Again, that's just more passive AoE. And then finally, Master of Beasts. Haiti will also benefit from Bestial Wrath and will kill command and Beast Cleave alongside your primary pet. So getting that middle talent really is worth it. And finally, I'll just show you what Stampede is like, then we'll do a full run through of the gameplay, and after that the video, well, will pretty much be finished then, won't it? So there's Stampede. It's a little bit bugged out, they're going through the floor, but they just kind of stampede at the target. I don't think that's very cool at all. I don't like that. I mean, I like the idea, but I would prefer the old one if I'm honest. So then, gameplay, what's it like? So we're just going to start off then with the Bestial Wrath, you know, into our kill command, getting our Dire Beasts out, a Chimera Shot. Hell, we'll use Aspect of the Wild. Let's live dangerously, right? Yeah, here's your gameplay. You know, we've got our Dire Beasts coming off cooldown. We always want to be using Chimera Shot on cooldown because it does so much damage. We procced a free Dire Beast. As you can see, sometimes it's a bit of a challenge to get rid of all of your focus. You do get quite a lot of it through the Dire Beasts. And this is basically the gameplay. It's quite spammy. It's quite fast-paced. Already, Bestial Wrath, 1.5 minute cooldown. Well, it's already off cooldown. So, there you go. Yeah, that's how it plays. It didn't take that long to explain because, you know what? It's actually quite simple. I think yeah, it's simple, but there's something about this which still reminds me of how you would play BM on live. You know, it's kind of spammy and all that stuff. You've got roughly the same gameplay with your, you know, your kill command and your Bestial Wrath and all that stuff going on. I don't know, really. It doesn't particularly blow me away or impress me, but it's about what I expected, so I suppose this one's probably more going to be up to you guys and what you think. But that's pretty much it for my spec overview. This is how the spec plays. That's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you have any other ideas for how they could have made the Beast Mastery Hunter more, well, beastie and, you know, have more pets and stuff, let me know down in the comments or via Twitter. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.